Well, you know, the state capitol has dozens of troopers that are assigned to it more or less permanently. So what's kind of interesting is that the trooper who actually first responded to this incident this morning was a trooper who was visiting from the southwesternmost city in Georgia, Thomasville. And he told us what he saw.
Once I was coming up, you heard the loud bangs of the firecrackers.
Trooper First Class Cantrell Cooley was driving his state patrol cruiser when he passed the Capitol.
As I started coming up, I recognized that I can see a person inside of the fire.
The man he saw was engulfed in fire and in exploding fireworks that initially sounded like gunfire. It shut down the Capitol, evacuated it of workers and visitors, and shut off access to several blocks around the State House. Trooper Cooley was the first one there. He says he pulled a fire extinguisher from his cruiser.
Whenever I pulled up, the guy was fully involved in fire. I mean, from his head down to his feet.
So was extinguishing it a challenge?
I would say yeah.
As you were extinguishing him, were there still firecrackers going off?
Yes, still firecrackers going on.
But by that point, were you convinced that it was fireworks and not gunfire?
Correct.
Did that make it more challenging to put out the fire?
Yes, because, you know, you're out there and stuff, you don't know in which direction the firecrackers are going to come as they're exploding and going off. So I didn't know if one was going to come up and hit me in my eye or my face, but I kind of figured, you know, he needed more help with getting the fire extinguished than I did.
And Trooper Cooley told me that he had a measure of sympathy for the man that he was extinguishing. Obviously, he said, when I asked him if he was sympathetic, he said that he was, because he was obviously troubled and very obviously having trouble dealing with whatever it was that was troubling him. Live at the Capitol, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.